Hello everyone. Today's session is going to be on deaf versus deaf. This is Heather Hall, the Kentucky School for the Deaf Outreach Consultant for the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative. Did you know that there's a difference between being deaf and death? There is a difference in deaf and deaf. It is often referred to as the big D and the little d. The deaf with a capital D refers to someone who is deaf and part of the deaf culture. The deaf with a lowercase d refers to someone who is deaf but not part of the deaf culture. Capital Deaf. The deaf community has its own culture. The deaf culture has its own traditions, etiquette, poetry, art, and language. This culture is a part of their identity and is highly valued in the deaf community. American Sign Language, or ASL. ASL is central to deaf culture. ASL is a unique natural language that has its own grammar, structure, as well as using movements of the hands and facial expressions to convey thoughts and feelings. ASL is not a visual representation of English, but is its language of its own. ASL has no written form. ASL was passed from individuals who were deaf to younger deaf students at deaf schools in the dorms, especially when the educational periods frowned on sign and promoted speaking as the primary mode of communication for deaf individuals. DVYA. DVYA is Deaf View Image Art, and it represents deaf artists and their deaf experiences. It shows how they see the world through their own unique lenses, and how sometimes they feel the world views them. The picture on the screen is called Color by Chuck Bard, a famous deaf artist. As you can see, the fingers are different colors. And in ASL, you make the sign by waving your fingers in front of the mouth. Deaf culture also has its own poetry. The following is a clip. It's ASL Poetry, The Moon in My Bedroom. Enjoy. ABC ASL Stories. In deaf culture, they have a really unique way of telling stories. One of them is a method in which they use the ABC handshapes of ASL to tell the stories. Step by step, it uses the A, B, C, and so on handshapes as part of the storytelling in one straight line. Watch it and enjoy.
My name is Cody Francisco. I'm a certified deaf interpreter. An ABC story is utilized while teaching children about language and culture. They're able to play with each of the letters of the alphabet to create a story. Hearing students learn language listening to songs, which a deaf child cannot do because they're unable to hear. So instead, they creatively play with the alphabet while telling a story. Here's an example of an ABC story. As I put on my coat, the door opens. My eyes widen with surprise. A haunting figure walks in. Nervously, I looked at him from head to toe. He wore a collar and a tie looking sharp, with a well-groomed brow and a smooth mustache. His hair cut short. He had a gun holstered at his hip. His jacket had 3 stripes on the left and 2 on the right. A badge hung from his chest. "You and I," he said, narrowing his eyes. He asked, "Are you ready?" He wiped his mouth, rolled up his sleeves. He looked at me and I looked at him. He sized me up. "Do you have any water?" he asked. "Oh, okay."
Deaf culture. I hope you gained a bit of insight to deaf culture. And remember that big D deaf is different than little d deaf. Please explore these concepts and these forms of art on your own. Thank you.